Hello and welcome to Cinco de Mayo. With Star Wars Day out of the way and the three marathon sessions that I ran for that, I'm back playing Scum and Villainy on the Gauntlet, and I have a new crew. Now we're not doing Star Wars tonight. We are playing a standard Scum and Villainy game, but with a slightly Western theme. So as this is on the Gauntlet, we will be using some safety tools. We'll be using the X card, and this is an open table game. So if at any point any of you feel like you need some time or you just need to not having fun and want to get away from the table, you're perfectly entitled to do that and no one will ask any questions. Are you all familiar with the X card? Excellent. So with that said, we are playing Scum and Villainy. We are playing a game called Tales of the Rangers, which is a Western-themed Scum and Villainy game based around bounty hunters. Now, the players tonight will be part of a bounty hunting crew, part of a franchise that's overseen by the overall company, which is the Verse Rangers, Verse Ranger Agency, which will means that they'll start with certain benefits that a normal crew wouldn't start with, which I'm going to take them through in a few moments. Now, before we go on, I'm going to ask people to just briefly introduce themselves and just briefly introduce their characters as well. So I'm going to start from the right-hand side of my screen. Walter, hello again. Could you tell us a bit about your character, please?
Hi, yes, I am Walter, he, him, and my character is Cord Ferris, alias Elbows. Cord is Imperial, and heritage and background is Syndicate. So heritage or Cord worked for organized crime in the center of the sort of core planets when he started off, and he was mostly like a hacker and a con man. Really enjoyed just hacking groups of people, social hacking and hacking systems. Was really good at what he did, made a lot of money for the syndicate there that he worked for, and then he basically got framed. Well, that's his story. And so he's been kind of pushed out, and now he's kind of in the backwater, trying to make the best of it that he can. He misses being in the core planet area, but he's still a scoundrel, and he's still a con man, just in a new environment.
Excellent. Thank you, Walter. So you're playing the Scoundrel Playbook, is that correct?
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Eli. Hello, Eli. Could you tell us a little bit about your character, please?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Eli. I use he, him pronouns, and today I will be playing Karana Farr, who uses she, her pronouns. I'm playing the pilot playbook. Her name's Karana, but she mostly goes by Kit as a nickname. She is also from the core worlds and grew up nice and comfy with a noble family, and then decided that that was not exciting and adventurous enough and kind of set out as a pilot, and her family may or may not want her back because you're doing a few too many disreputable things. And they're just out there trying to live their best life. Their alias is Sparkles.
I keep on forgetting to turn off the mute. 2.5 years. I'll never get the hang of it. Thank you very much, Eli. I'm looking forward to see how that plays out with the family. Next up, we have Alejandro. Alejandro, can you give us a brief introduction and tell us a little about your character, please?
I am playing Thane Brell, a mystic. He was a spacer laborer. He's relatively uneducated and grew up in labor colonies. And is now just working, trying to improve his life, not really understanding what that means. The thing I have in mind is actually kind of personality-wise. I don't know if any of you read Saga, but kind of the Will type of, just kind of a cold, but not cold. You know what I mean? Or maybe you don't. his vice. He has two vices, which is weird and faith. Weird, he likes to work out, and he works out excessively, like in between scenes and stuff like that. And that's because he grew up as a spacer, so his body is a little bit more frail, and he's just kind of really nervous about just being in top shape when he goes planet side and stuff like that. Faith is and his weird purveyor is Rye, in Unrequited Love, which is his coach. I just copied them off of the list here. For Faith, it's more of a Buddhistic self development type of connection with the way, and that is meditation and communion with the way and connecting with it. His purveyor is Horrocks, his teacher. He has a fine melee weapon, and that's a whip. So it's an extension of his kind of body, and he has a whip, but he also uses a blaster. Special abilities is kinetics. So
excellent. I'd imagine that would be incredibly useful in zero-G environments to be able to actually move things.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm just going to ask a quick question here. How did you go from being a spacer to being this religious person, this mystic?
Also, somebody asked me if I had an exotic pet. I would like to have an exotic pet, but we can deal with that in a second. He just had this natural attunement to the way, and that both got him in trouble and out of trouble, and he kind of just stumbled out of labor because of these abilities. Someone, I think Horrocks, picked him out, purchased him, and took him and began training him, and I think he was purchased. So maybe there's still some sort of he still has some sort of obligation, but it's not a vice. So
okay.
Yeah.
Does he have any sort of slave tattoo or anything like that, or something that marks him as once being a laborer?
Yeah, I'm sure he has plenty of scars and he has I think he has a weird flesh tone from breathing like unfiltered air and that kind of stuff. So he's really, really pallid and that. But other than that, he looks average. He dresses average. Nothing about him stands out other than these small elements.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him in the game. And finally, I'm sorry, I keep on getting your name wrong. I do apologize. Ainar? Ainar. People get my name wrong all the time, so I try and say other people's names properly, and I do apologize if I get it wrong during the session.
That's fine.
Ainar, can you tell us a bit about your character, please?
So I'm playing Orentel, alias OT, she, her. She's a spacer who grew up on an isolated space station, which someone might call a cult. And she joined or she was able to join the sort of expeditionary arm of the organization, and that's also her obligation. So she gets to travel the verse and explore planets, which is her favorite thing. But she has to report back, I think.
Excellent. And what playbook is she again?
Is the muscle. and I'm imagining being some sort of rigorous martial arts training on the space station. She is.
Was that actually part of the cult training? Was that something does the cult have a martial focus?
I think it's optional. It's not that it's not a martial cult, but it's a cult of many specializations, and that's one of them.
Excellent. So those are our characters. Now you're all part of a bounty hunting group that's associated with the Verse Rangers, as I mentioned, which is an overall, effectively, it's a bounty hunters guild. What they do is they help with some of the upfront costs to actually get people their licenses and help with the paperwork. But they also actually monitor people and make sure that they're playing by the rules. If everyone has a look on Roll20, there's a ship on there called the Cerberus. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the crew creation, which involves actually generating your ship as well. Now, when you get the Cerberus up, you'll notice that one of the special abilities on the Cerberus is already marked, which is licensed. Normally, you'd only get one of these abilities, but you're getting this one for free. So this would reduces the amount of heat when you're on a legitimate bounty hunting job, and also means you can carry particle and heavy weapons. But there is a downside, and if you look down further down the sheet, I've actually misspelled that. It's a franchise audit. It's supposed to be franchise audit. 2 seconds. Basically, you have a wheel there, which goes from 1 to 4. As things happen during the game, I may offer devil's bargains or complications that people may have put in reports to the head office, and eventually it'll come a time for an audit. When that happens, your next job will have a civilian ride along with you and basically be keeping notes and keeping an eye on what's going on there. So that's purely a roleplay thing, but it is there to actually complicate certain later jobs. But that is the downside for getting that ability for free. Now I'm going to take you through crew generation. So we've already had the first one dictated by the scenario, which is you're going to be using the ship, which is the Cerberus, which are extraction specialists. Look and find missing people, items, or claim bounties. You're effectively bounty hunter or a detective agency. The next point is the crew needs to decide what reputation it has. So there's several on there. There's ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, strange, or subtle. Does anyone have any ideas about which of those they'd like to have?
Well, my character would definitely be more interested in things like daring and ambitious.
Where is that?
Yeah, I don't see the list.
The list is actually on the it's on the crew creation handout. It was in
the handout.
In the PDF I sent people in the email.
Well, the fact that my vice is gambling, I have to back daring as a reputation.
So I've just posted it into the chat as well, the options. So
how do the reputations affect the game? Is it just narrative, or is it?
It's just it's narrative mainly for people to actually look to and how people are actually envisioning the crew reacting and acting.
Yes.
I'm guessing part of it is like a way for us to like all have like something we rally around, like what unites us as a crew, right? Like there's something that we all have in common that we all want to do together.
So I think that Thane would want to come off as professional and legitimate, given his background. He's trying to look more professional and legitimate. That doesn't mean that that's how we're coming off, you know. So there's what Thane wants, and then there's reality. So I'm totally okay with it being brutal and daring rather than professional. But
We pick one or two.
Okay, so it seems like people seems like there's some interest there in daring at the moment. Is there anything else anyone would like to put forward? Eli, do you have Ainar, do you have any ideas? Ainar. I'm sorry, I'm really gonna get that wrong during tonight. I do apologize.
Really fine. My mom says it wrong, so it's okay. Well, I think OT would sort of come off strange to other people, but see herself as daring and honorable, perhaps. But I'm game for anything.
So it seems like everyone's okay with daring there. Is that how I'm reading the room?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we will have that as daring. I'll just enter that in here now. Okay. So the next step of character creation for the ship and the crew is customizing your ship. Now you start with 2 credits on the ship, so I'll just mark those in. You get to choose 2 additional ship systems to improve. Your choices are engine, hull, comms, and weapons. Alternatively, you can actually improve your crew quality, which would allow you to have a greater effect against more larger organizations. But it's probably a good idea to actually just improve the basic systems on the ship at the moment.
What would it be? That quality rating? Is that...
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that, Walter.
If we improve crew quality, what does that do specifically? It increases our rating number for crew quality?
Basically, against larger organizations, it's going to be harder for you to do things normally. Crew quality gives you better equipment, better resources, and basically means you have a easier time against larger groups. So if you go up against the 51st Legion, which are the standard peacekeepers, if you're effectively fighting the military, because they're such a large organization, you're going to run into trouble because they'll generally have better equipment than you. So what that would mean is you'd normally get a reduced effect against them when you act against them on a larger level. The crew rating basically counteracts that somewhat. It bumps you up. So rather than so they would be classed as rank 4, and normally you'd be rank 1.
What would it look like if we improved comms? Like, how would that affect things?
It would. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm going to have to take these off. These are cutting into me. Effectively, what we do is we compare the comms rating against the tier of the people you're against for that specific check. So if you are equal to them, you'd have standard effect. If you're lower than them, you'd have minimal effect. If you're higher than them, you'd have greater effect. So you you basically add the rating to your crew rating and compare it to the tier of the people you're up against.
Okay.
Comms are like scanners and that kind of stuff.
Scanners, communicators, hacking tools, basically any means of communicating with an external threat, and also your scanners and your science function of your ship.
I'm partial to engine and comms. I don't know what other people think.
Yeah, comms sounds good. So the thing Nexus Link, is that totally something different? That's like not something we could choose now?
That'll come later on.
Okay.
What
about the pilot? You're going to be the one who has to. You're going to be the one we're going to blame if things go wrong with the ship. What do you want? Eli? Oh, did we lose him? Eli's gone.
He said he'd be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Calm sounds good to me. What do you think, Einar? Should that be one of them?
Yeah, that's good. And I'm also partial to engines, or guns maybe.
Okay, well, oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Well, there is a downside to that because at least one of the factions in the game will have actually helped you upgrade the ship at some point. So if you look on Roll20 again, there's a faction spreadsheet. I'm just trying to get.
So do we need to pick a faction?
You well, I get to pick a faction, and then you get to decide how you respond to them.
Okay.
So I'm going to post the different. I'm going to let you know the different factions in a moment. The faction in a moment, but these are the different ways that you can actually have responded to them. So when I can get this working, 2 seconds. I've got so many screens open. There we go. So in this case, the faction that's actually helped you get the ship up and running is the Starsmiths Guild.
Okay.
They're basically the piloting guild, and they're the ones that control shipping. So some of the options, so the 3 options that you'd have as a result of that, you could have actually paid them for their help, in which case you spend one of the credits that the ship has. You owe them, promise them you'll return the favor down the line. You gain +1 status with them. If you choose True Court, okay, so you'd gain +1 status with them, or you can stiff them. You don't need to pay them, but you take a -1 status with that faction, as they don't trust you.
I'm fine with owing him one.
Yeah, that sounds good. I don't think we need to pay them, but we probably shouldn't stiff them.
Well, yeah. They don't need to know we'd stiff them.
Not yet.
Okay, so I'll mark. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to ask Eli if he had a vote for the ship improvement that we wanted to make. We seemed to, the 3 of us all liked comms, but I don't know if we were kind of leaning toward like engines or weapons. But you're the pilot, right? So maybe you have a preference. What would you
any of them are fine. But if we have people leaning towards comms, we can do cool things with comms.
Yeah, well, we get 2. So I think we're going to do comms, and then we get a second choice of engine, hull, or weapons.
Okay.
When I blame you for things going wrong, which one do you want to do you want to avoid that happening through?
Let's roll with. I mean, we don't need a hull. It's fine. Let's just put it in engines.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so that's sensors and engines, is that right?
Yes.
Has anyone already marked that on there?
I did not. It doesn't look like it. I can mark engine.
No, it's okay. So
mark it?
I'll do it. So comms and.
Well, I just marked. Okay, yeah, I just marked engines. Engines should be 2.
Okay, there we go. So, and as I said, and the Starsmith Guild, who make ships and do take care of all the shipping and repairs, you owe them a favor for this at some point in the future, and they may very well call on that. The next stage of character generation for the crew is a special ability. If you look in the right-hand corner of the Cerberus sheet, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different options. One is already marked. So you get to choose one of those other options.
I like Deadly, since it benefits all of us directly.
It sounds good to me.
Okay, anyone? Okay, so deadly it is then. So I'll mark deadly. Now you get to choose your ship upgrades. Each ship starts with pre-selected upgrades, which are already marked on there. In addition to those upgrades, pick 2 that are on there. You can pick any 2 dock boxes, but be aware some, like shields, cost 2 upgrades in order to select. After you assign your upgrades, the GM will tell you about 2 factions impacted by your choices. One faction helped you get the upgrade. You get +1 status with them. At your option, you may spend 1 cred to repay the kindness and take 2 in status instead. The other faction screwed you over on an upgrade. They don't like you and you get -2 status with them. Or you can spend 1 cred and take -1 status instead. So if you look where it says on the ship itself, it has upgrades under the different points. But it also has crew ship upgrades on the right-hand side.
So like tracers, stun weapons, hard knocks, personal vehicles.
That's right, yes.
And we can choose 2 boxes worth?
You can choose 2 boxes worth, yes.
Okay, so not smooth criminal is not an option yet.
No, not yet, unfortunately. You need 3 upgrades to be able to get that.
So tracers, that's for like tracking someone? What is tracers?
Tracers, give me 2 seconds. A wide array of ways to track your targets, including tiny bugs that can be hidden on clothing, with a suave pat of the back, beacons that are attached to a hull, or even transmission cloners for comms. Legality varies.
That sounds good. I think tracers and stun weapons make sense for us.
I kind of like the idea. I don't know how personal vehicles works, but I hope we get to do some like biker chases and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if picking that now would be
even if you don't have that, you can actually obtain those in downtime for 1 mission by using the obtain asset downtime action. So you can try and actually gain those before your missions, depending on what your mission is and how you envision it going. So you don't need to take a personal vehicle now. What personal vehicles actually reads as a sleek single-seater craft that can fold up tight enough to fit in a reasonable sparking space. Limited fuel, but they can break atmosphere. Can carry basic weapons, though they can't seriously damage anything freighter size or larger. You may want a landing bay.
Oh, if we had personal vehicles. So those are like shuttlecraft, basically, or something.
So they're shuttlecraft or speeder bikes, or they can be a wide variety of things depending on how you want to actually go about and do it. So you get to define what they are. Here we go. So are we going with tracers and stun weapons?
I'm alright with those, although there's part of me that feels like Alien Pet is just too good to pass up. But
what was that?
I said I like those, but there's also a part of me that just feels like Alien Pet is too good to pass up.
Is that a choice?
Or is that down in the crew gear? Is that, or are we only in the cruise ship upgrade section?
No, you can choose. You can choose any of those different options down there.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Cruise ship upgrade.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry. It's the box at the top says cruise ship upgrades, but it's any of those down there. The ones that are tracers, stun weapons, and the like are the ones which are unique to your types playbooks. So if you did want to have a Land Rover, a land vehicle, and we can call it a hover vehicle or a speeder, you could take that. You could take a hollow emitter. So when you're talking over comms, you actually, rather than talking into a screen, you actually have a full representation of someone.
Is that
what does training mean? So if we have training insight, that means everybody gets an extra insight.
For training insight, give me 2 seconds. Sorry about this. I'm just... Okay. Okay, when you have training in that, you may mark 2 XP in the appropriate category instead of 1 when taking a downtime train action. So basically, any of the skills under that category allow you to train them twice as quick.
All right. So, Eli, you said you were interested in the alien pet. What would the alien pet look like?
I'm not sure, but I feel like it could be interesting.
Would it be for color, or would this be like a useful alien pet?
If you're taking an upgrade for it, it would be a useful alien pet.
Like how about like some kind of like a pterodactyl-like creature that has like a really good sense of smell, like a bloodhound?
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Although I will insist on a name for it.
We get one more, right? We get Brig for free. Is that right?
You get Brig for free because you're bounty hunters. And then you basically get 2 options. So if you take an alien pet, and is everyone settled on alien pet?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I vote for tracers. What are other people's ideas?
I want to throw Medical Bay out there. I don't know how this game plays. I'm cool with if we go with tracers. I don't know how lethal this game is. So
Medical Bay would be helpful in that we don't have a permanent doctor.
Yeah, is there someone? So the muscle has 1 doctor skill.
The medical bay will give you +1 dice on your recovery rolls.
Okay.
So
well, I guess that sounds practical.
we don't have to go practical. I just was throwing the idea out there. We can go in practical and have fun.
Is recovery, is that the same as that's for getting our stress back? Is that right?
No, that's for healing your body.
Okay, so that's when we take harm.
Yes. So at the end of any session, you lose all level 1 harm. But to heal the level 2 and the level 3, you have to use downtime actions to basically undergo recovery.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to put my vote in for tracers, but I'm like totally happy to go with what the rest of the group wants to. So whatever other people are into.
I like the idea of tracers as well. I think that could be cool, especially if they're sort of flexible, so we can like track targets through crowds and things like that as well.
Sure. We don't need to get healed. No one will get hurt.
Yeah, we're good. We're good bounty hunters.
Yeah, and we're relatively legit. In theory, we should be able to find a hospital somewhere.
That's true.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 factions now that have actually, one that's helped you with an upgrade and one that doesn't like you. Now, you're going to start with +2 status with the one that likes you. Sorry. 1 second. Let me just double check that. Because like I say, this is all new to me. Okay, so for the one that like you start with +1 status, or you can spend a cred to start with +2 status instead. And the one that you don't like would start with -2 status. Who doesn't like you will start at -2 status, or you can spend a cred to buy them off and start with -1 status instead. So the 2 factions, the one who do like you are the 1 second. The one that does like you is Isotropa Max Secure. which is a prison, a private prison. Given that you are bounty hunters and you are constantly helping them by turning folks over to them. Hopefully, maybe, we'll see. So would you like to start with +1 status or +2?
Well, what are we going to spend our credit on? I think that's a good question.
You spend it in. You can spend it in the game to try and get bonuses and rolls, or I may offer it as I may have it as a devil's bargain that you can spend a credit to get bonus dice on a roll, for instance. Or you can use it to bribe people, but ideally what you're looking to do is you're looking to earn money by doing this.
Yeah. Is there anything else we can could we buy a ship upgrade from the get-go?
Not from the get-go, no. You can you can later on though.
I like the idea of starting with the high status, as well as starting with and not buying off the ones who don't like us. So already sort of priming the pumps, as it were, for conflict.
Okay, so are you looking to actually buy up that to 2 with isotrope and max secure then?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will mark that at 2. Now the group who doesn't like you, I just having to go through the book because there's an awful lot of groups on here. Is on the next page apparently. Is the Bornico Syndicate, who are a tightly knit group of thieves who steal high-end technology. So would you like to start on -2 with them or on -1?
You know what? If we're not jumping too far ahead, I kind of like the idea that maybe we're at -2 with them, and that maybe they're the group that I used to be associated with an affiliate of theirs back in the core, and so I have maybe I have a long history sort of, and that they don't like me for whatever complicated reasons.
Yep, by all means. I have no problem with that if everyone else is okay with it.
Yeah, I love it.
Brilliant. So with that said, there's one last thing. So if you look on the bottom right-hand side of the Cerberus sheet, sorry, mid right-hand side, there's a contact. I'd like you to choose one of those contacts, which is your one of your ship's main contacts, someone that you can all call on rather than your personal ones. So we have Stacey Weathers, an ace reporter, Arlott, an Ashen Knives Pasha, and I'll just look up what the Ashen Knives are again. 1 second, and that's going to be right at the start of... Okay, so the Ashen Knives are... the Ashen Knives are a decadent syndicate focused on drugs, gambling, and pleasures of the flesh. So they're basically a drug cartel that indulges that basically about vice and the like. The next one is Ishi, a weapons dealer. Lix, a xeno tracker, so an alien tracker. And Jesri, a fixer. So any ideas of which of those you'd prefer?
I'm partial to the reporter or the fixer. Actually, or the weapons dealer. So that my vote. I'll go for whatever anybody wants. So
I was thinking the Arlox the Shen knife, but I'm curious about the ace reporter. Like, I don't know. What would our angle be with the ace reporter? I think that could be intriguing, but I'd like to know like maybe a little bit about like why we know an ace reporter. I think that would be a nice contrast to what I've seen from our characters. But I'm wondering what other people think about how we would interact with an ace reporter.
I think they would function as both a like the bat signal type thing. I can't think of like a term to describe it. Like they're like, yeah, there's trouble over here or something like that. But we're bounty hunters, so I don't know.
Could they potentially be using you to actually cover the story? So tipping off and then actually being the first on the scene in a very Peter Parker style way.
That's the kind of
exactly. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Sorry, Walter.
Yeah. Oh, I was just thinking like I could imagine my character is like having an ulterior motive as well of like wanting them to like publicize my exploits. Like I'm a bit of a narcissist. Which might be part of the reason why I wasn't doing so well with the syndicate. I was not keeping quiet enough.
Drawing too much attention to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I could also see me having my own like if like being viewed as professional and legitimate, having stories or being involved, even though we may not directly be named, but it kind of legitimizes us and makes me look, I don't know. So yeah.
Is she effectively your PR person?
Yeah, I like that angle. Like she maybe gives us like, you know, insight into jobs or whatever, but we also like use her as a PR person. Yeah, I love that.
It's a mutually beneficial relationship.
Okay, so now that we've decided upon the contact the ship has, which is Stacey Weathers, Ace Reporter. I think I'm going to have to say Ace Reporter every time I say her name. Now the final stage of this is one faction is friendly with the contract, that you get a +1 status them, but one faction is unfriendly. So rather than me to choose it now, if you look through those lists of people, if you have any questions about on the faction sheets, if you have any questions about what the factions are, who they are, and a little bit about their background, I have the book here, and I'll be happy to answer. So, who do you think is on good terms with Stacey?
So I'd like to get some of the weird factions involved.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I was kind of hoping that it would be like the weird. I mean, the weird can be both. There could be a good, a positive and a negative weird faction associated with her. I'm interested in a negative association, like a negative, but I don't know.
Okay. So, looking through the weird factions, I'll give you a brief overview of the different ones that we have there. We have the Shahiri, tall ebon-skinned Xenos who travel with blindfolded servants to speak for them. Gave the homogeny their Ansible network. Have creepy black metal ships, very rich and work as merchant families. The Sun Eaters are archaeologists of precursors and scientists obsessed with recreating jump gate technology, looking to extinguish a star in pursuit of their goals. The Agony would be under A rather than T. 1 second. So the Agony, a cult of humans who infect themselves with way creatures, so force creatures, to access the universe in uncertain ways, named after the pain most endure for their abilities. The Ashanti cult is a cult of precursor worshippers, claiming precursor descent. They carry vials of gases from the Ashari cloud, which they inhale to connect to their presumed ancestors. You've got the Viginerons. Goodness, I can't pronounce half these names. A small handful of immortality seekers using artifact tech implants and chemicals distilled from the living. Several of them are around several hundred years old. Most were powerful before their transformation, although they now conceal their true identities. You have the Ghosts, a scientist who, due to a mishap, lived xenosuited in a half-phase state. The Mendicants, who originally the Church of the Emerald Heart. This organization was politically destroyed. Now they wander the stars as traveling physicians and healers. The Night Speakers, mystics with dark proclivities bent on finding a set of dangerous precursor artifacts. The Acolytes of Brashkades. A collective that eschews individuality. Initiates adopt the same garb and the same name in the pursuit of the perfection at any cost. Then you have Conclave 01, independent sentient robots led by an ancient robot known as the Prime. Work to control the mining sites and gain access to precursor AI modules required to generate true sentient machines. And finally, you have Vigilance. Vigilance are warrior mystics bearing artifact blades who seek to enforce an ancient code of justice on any they find wanting. So those are the word factions. Any ideas there?
Could you give me the Sun Eaters again?
Yeah, by all means. The Sun Eaters. Okay. Archaeologists and scientists obsessed with recreating jump jet technology, looking to extinguish a star in pursuit of their goals.
So maybe I just like that name, but maybe our ace reporter got on the wrong side by publishing or looking into a story about their illicit means of acquiring or researching the jump gate technology.
That sounds good to me.
Okay. Is everyone else okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds cool. I like
Brilliant.
jump gates.
So that was the Sun Eaters. There we go. And I will mark that -1. So who is she on good terms with? Are they looking through there? It really helps to have context on this. I don't know why they don't have the brief faction overviews on a handout. Sorry.
So, is there a handout with that? Just curiously, or there's not one?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch. No, there isn't a handout with them on, unfortunately.
Okay.
I mean, we could just choose another weirdness that she is on good terms with. Does that sound good?
I was thinking the robot one that she's because usually you would expect them to be the bad guys, but I like the idea to that. That's my input.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Is everyone okay with that? Brilliant. So Conclave 01. Okay. And that's the character sorted. That's all character gen done. So there's one last thing that we need. If we go back to the Cerberus, what's the company name?
So, you, like our name, like
Your
us,
name,
or the big
No,
corporation.
your name.
No.
This is a franchise. You basically you effectively buy into a union. So you still get your own company name. So what do you operate as?
Something connected with a pet, maybe pterodactyls.
So has anyone got any ideas for the name of the pet?
The only thing that popped in my head was Beaky, but I don't know if anyone has any feelings about that.
How about Razor?
No, that's fun.
Okay, so we have Razor, and so if this is linked to the pet's name, what are you calling yourselves?
The Razor Flyers? No, that's kind of stupid.
The Daring Razors?
The Razor's Edge.
Ah, I like that.
I mean, if we are
What was,
fair, right?
what was it?
The Razor's Edge.
Huh. Occam?
I was expecting Arkham to come up somewhere there. Okay, so are we going with Razor's Edge? Okay, so that is character generation. So we've come to the halfway point of the session. So before we start role playing, I think this is the perfect time to take our mid-session break. So if we come back at 25 minutes to the hour, is everyone okay with that? Okay. I'll see people in a few minutes then.
Hi, Eli. Where are you based out of?
I'm in Boston, in the U.S.
Are you originally from Boston, or?
No, I'm originally more from the Midwest, but I've been here for like 2 years now. So
I'm in California. I'm in Southern California.
nice. Yeah, I think we got like a whole bunch of time zones here. We've got evening, morning, middle of the afternoon.
Yeah. So you've never played Scum and Villainy before?
No, my only exposure to any Forged in the Dark system is I played a little bit of the Mutants in the Night at Metatopia last year, but that's it.
Is that the noir kind of like detective, like supernatural one, or?
Yeah, it's the X-Men one. So it's people have superpowers, but the primarily it's looking at like marginalization and racism through that context.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I've actually never been interested in the Forged in the Dark game, but I'm interested in this, so I'm open to it. I don't know why I wasn't. I don't like clunky. I like more streamlined systems, and this system's already coming off pretty clunky for my standards. But really,
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I agree. I'm interested to see how it plays. My hope is that like we do the number groundwork here, and then the actual like generation, because I know it's supposed to be that you like just jump right into the middle of things and just figure it out as you go with like flashbacks, and I hope that streamlines it more.
Hello, everyone. So I've just gone and got pens to write everyone's name and stuff on the board. And then I realized I put it on upside down. That was clever of me. Oh, well. Okay, so just waiting for... Oh, has Walter dropped the session?
yeah, I just noticed that his name dropped off.
Let me just give him another invite back. Go. There we go. Just sent him another invite again. Okay. I've just spotted that link to the call sign website you mentioned.
Yeah, I was very entertained scrolling through those.
Oh, God. Here we go. Oh God, some of these. Call sign Captain, F-16 driver in Japan. Real name was James Kirk. So I work for a company that does boiler repairs in the UK. The uniforms that we have are basically red T-shirts. We have an engineer by the name of James Kirk. There are occasions where we have to buck 2 engineers out to do certain jobs. I refuse to send him in with another engineer and no one gets the joke. Because I'm not sending anyone called James Kirk anywhere where there's another red shirt. Because that can only end up with trouble.
Yeah, that sounds like a danger waiting to happen.
Risk assessment. Engineer name, James Kirk. Risk. Uniform color. He takes it in good. He takes it in stride. Welcome back, Walter.
Hello.
I envy you finding a hat that will actually fit under headphones.
Ah.
I keep on trying to find a way to hide my bald spot and failing miserably. Okay, so with everyone back, I'm going to do an opening scene so just people can get a chance to play the characters a little bit before you decide upon a job. So, where would you like to do this? Would you like to do this on the ship? Would you like to does the agency actually have a office somewhere? The world that we're basing most of this around is a world called Shamara, which is a desert planet. It has some large cities where there are big universities, some of the biggest ones in the Procon sector where you're based. But most of it is desert, and it has rolling electric storms that go across it that expose minerals. Once these minerals are exposed, there's basically boomtowns build up around them as people try to get in there, get the claim and build up industries and exploit them while they've got access to them. So it has a very Wild West feel. You've got towns basically springing out of nowhere overnight, and outside of the cities itself, it's very lawless. So does the company maintain an office, or do you do everything from your ship?
I think I'm going to suggest that the ship is our office, but I'm okay with if people have other ideas.
That sounds good.
I think. I mean, do we think we're like spend a lot of time outside, or do we want to be in like cities? What is the like? I don't know. I guess like the Nexus it's called here, the intergalactic internet, basically, right? Is that what that is?
That is, yeah.
How does connectivity to that like go? So it sounds like we don't have any connectivity through our ship at the moment. That's an upgrade we'd have to get.
The Nexus system would basically allow you to connect to the wider Nexus. Without it, you'd only be able to connect to local signals and local traffic.
Okay.
So you wouldn't be able to actually connect to other systems to get any information beyond what's held in this system itself.
Okay.
And the system you're in is one called Breck.
And how common is it to get access to the Nexus? Like if we went into a city, are there like places we could access it easily there?
Well, Nexus access beyond the individual world is normally restricted to people who have need of it or have the money to pay for it. Having said that, there's a huge university on Shamara. And because of that, there actually has a pretty stable and established connection to the wider Nexus, which I'm sure you'd be able to find ways to get on.
Okay. Yeah. I've probably like worked on all kinds of connections there. Like I've like convinced them that I have some knowledge worth like giving a lecture on. I probably do like guest lectures or something. I probably like tried to get like faculty status at the university somehow. Conned my way into that.
Okay, so we're aboard ship. I'd like someone to describe the last job and tell me how it went wrong. So what was the last job? What was the last bounty you tried to claim? Ainar? What was the last bounty your group went for?
Yeah, so I think it was a runaway noble or aristocrat, whatever. I don't know. There's a noble class of some sort, right?
Yep, there's noble houses in the game.
It was just an arranged marriage type thing, and the groom ran away. So it was a soft capture not kill
Okay.
type situation. And I think I was just imagining our razor getting a cold or something like that. So the smelling was off, and that led us off the trail.
Okay, so that person is still out there then.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, and I'm taking they've missed the date of the wedding then.
Yeah. And I don't know if the tone is sort of like a bit more on the gonzo. I'm imagining sort of staging a false wedding of some kind in order to appease the nobles. But I don't know if that's
So
Can I ask a quick question real quick? I don't get the references for this game. You said it's such and such, but not Firefly. I don't know the such and such.
okay, they were children's cartoons from the 80s and 90s. So the Wild West cartoon heroes, but in space. For example, the Texas Rangers flew around in starships like normal, but they wore uniforms with cowboy Stentons, and the land vehicles were robotic horses. So it's that sort of thing. Brave Star was a boomtown on a alien world with all sorts of alien species, but it had a Native American, half Native American, half Caucasian sheriff, the marshal there. But he had a robotic horse himself. But all the bad guys rode around on speeder bikes with animals with horse skulls on the front and longhorn skulls over it. So it was a very Texas theme. So it's mainly just Wild West. Sorry, it's mainly just space opera, but with a little bit of a Western theme. So you get cantinas, you get the local sheriffs, you get the local criminal gangs, but it's more there to give flavor rather than anything else. It won't have a mechanical effect on the game. It's mainly just there for the visuals.
And so is like all of the, for lack of a better term, all of the outer worlds are like this, and then the inner worlds are more, or is the whole setting like this?
It's predominantly this world. So this world is baked with it being a desert planet with boomtowns popping up. It's predominantly just on this world. When you go to other places, which you can do because you have a ship, there'll still be that slight Wild West flavor, but it won't be anywhere as pronounced as on the planet itself. So Shimara, it won't be as pronounced as on Shimara. So
Ainar, continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So the last job was a wedding that a runaway husband, from a groom from a wedding. So they staged a wedding they staged a fake wedding. Did you provide the lookalike when you couldn't find the actual groom? And do they know? Eli?
I almost imagine that, and Walter, if this is okay with you, that I feel like we weren't able to find like someone to permanently fill the position, but that we kind of put up Cord Ferris as the like, you'll be our stand-in husband to like save face that the wedding still happens, but there's nothing after the wedding. That was kind of our, we couldn't find him, but you can still have a wedding.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're like super upset that we didn't tell them that until after the wedding night. So that ended really poorly. But Cord insists that he just didn't get an opportunity to bring it up early enough.
Excellent. And can I have the name of your betrothed? Sorry, your husband or wife at this point?
Yeah. I think my betrothed is Count Akru.
Brilliant. There we go. So, in which case, I think you're actually on the flight back from that wedding, and I think it's the morning. It's the morning after the night before, and there was probably an awful lot of drink involved. So, sitting there on the ship on the way back, and you don't really have much money left to your name after the payouts and everything else, and when the alcohol started flowing, things got up, and someone may have put a tab on the bar, and a lot of the company money has managed to go away, and you're not really sure who's done that. No one really has solid memory of who put that tab up, but they came looking for the money, and as a result, you kind of had to pay. So, as an agency, you're a little bit down on your luck at the moment. Now, there is a bounty board available to all members of the guild, and if you have a look on Roll20, I think it's available to everyone. So, can everyone see that bounty board?
I saw before. Yes.
It's down under Hangouts. So there are currently 4 bounties being advertised on there. You have Bros, who is wanted on murder, assault, theft, and possession of prescribed weaponry, who has a bounty of 8 credits, dead or alive, from the 51st Legion. You have Lancel, who's wanted for the theft of star map data. And it's not so much that he's wanted, it's that there's a 6 credit bounty for the return of the star map data from the Starsmiths Guild. There's Ziana, who's wanted for a resistant arrest, escape from custody, and political incitement. And there's a 6 credit bounty for them alive from Isotropia Max Secure. And finally, you have Weasel. I'm sorry, I have no idea what's going on there. It sounds like there's an argument going on next door.
Fucking Weasel always causing trouble.
Weasel 2, Weasel 3, Weasel 4, and Weasel 5, who are all illegal clones of Weasel. And there is a 2 credit bounty out for each of them individually, dead, from the Makers Guild, which are the Cloners Guild. So these are the bounties that are currently being advertised.
How easy is it to copy star map data? So if we were to retrieve the star map data and copy it and then return it, how feasible would that be?
The central star map data is actually held on a crystalline chip. It's basically it's etched in microscopically. It's not something that's easily copyable. What would happen is that information would normally then be broken down into smaller bits and sent out as maps that would be sent out to the people passing through the gates. The entire star map is something that's normally not widely shared for obvious reasons, as the guild tries to keep control of it. So it's not something that would be very easy to copy.
Well, one nice thing about getting back to star map data is that the Starsmiths Guild is, I think, a little bit on Stacy's bad side. Maybe we could help them patch things up. Seems like the Starsmiths Guild is a good guild to be on the good side of.
That is true. Would be helpful.
Also,
not impossible means possible. That was it.
Not impossible? What was that?
It means possible, but it would take a lot of resources to do so.
Oh, to put them back on Stacy's good side?
No, to copy the star map.
Oh, yeah. Or to just say we didn't find it and sell it to someone else for more. A lot of these others, I get the feeling most of these other cases, it's, there's no second course, so to speak, for making a profit.
I mean, how hard could it be to find one runaway scientist?
Is Lancel a scientist?
I think we'll say that yes, Lancel is a scientist.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows scientists are pushovers. We should totally just go grab this guy, and 6 creds sounds really solid.
They probably have the ability to copy the data.
They might have already. Who are they going to sell it to? That's an interesting.
Exactly.
I feel like there's a lot of potential going on here. I think we need to find this Lancel and have a conversation with them.
Okay, so the notes in the document itself post his last known location as Port Bastion, which is the major starport on site. And it points out that he was seen entering the system from the port itself. But beyond that, it doesn't have much more details about that. You may be able to get more, though, if you contact the Starsmiths Guild. Given that you're on good terms with them, they may be able to provide you with more information.
Oh, are we on good terms? I thought we were on bad terms.
They're the ones that actually helped you put your ship in the air.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. It was the Sun Eaters Guild that I was confusing them with that. Okay.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. And this port you mentioned, that's on this planet that we're on. That's on the
this planet.
Of Chimera.
In fact, Chimera, yes. In fact, I would say that's probably where you're heading at the moment anyway, given that it's the major spaceport.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, you know what though? It's so the Starsmiths Guild, they put up this bounty board. This is just on the bounty board generally, right?
This is on the public bounty board, so this bounty is publicly advertised.
So if we don't contact the Starsmiths Guild saying that we're looking for it, then no one necessarily knows that we're on this case.
Not at all, no.
So maybe we should go a little freelance first and see how our luck takes us.
Does anybody have any, I don't know, like hacking or
I have hacking.
like study skills, like to do some research, try to figure out who this, like what this person looks like. So as much details as we can on this person.
Yeah, study would be good. Does anybody have study at all?
I have one in study, but
all right, that's good. I think between study and hack, we could probably figure out something. How about I like hack the system for you as an aid for your study? I can like try and access some Nexus info or something like that.
Excellent. Now, that actually brings up a point. There is something that you can actually do as teamwork called a setup action. So what a setup action does is, if a character does a setup action, the one that follows up afterwards can either choose to have an improved position, so downgrade from a desperate roll to a risky roll, or a risky roll to a controlled one, or they can have +1 effect, so they can get more information. So if you were to do a hack to hack the comm system at the port, or hack the records, that would certainly allow him to have more access to that and be able to help increase the success of his study, or make it less risky to do so. Or you can just spend 1 stress to give him +1 dice for the study to assist him with it by hacking.
Yeah, let's try the setup. That sounds like a good way to go. I think that sounds worthwhile.
Okay. So
could I do both? Could I start off with a setup to give him greater effect, and then also spend a stress to give him an extra die?
Yeah, you can certainly do that.
Attempt?
Yeah, you can certainly do that.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Okay, so to hack the systems, which systems are you going for? What sort of systems are you looking to gain access to find that information?
Well, I have a bad sense of boundaries. Like, I should probably not hack the Starsmiths Guild system itself, since they're our friends, and since we at this point don't want them to know we're on the case of Lancel. So by Cord's strange logic, that's the reason why he should in fact go there first. So I'm going to actually hack into the Starsmiths Guild system.
Excellent. So I'm going to say that's going to be a risky roll.
Okay.
But it is going to have standard effect. So I'd like you to roll hack, please.
All right.
Is anyone helping you with this hack?
Who's helping me with this hack?
So do you need a skill to help?
You don't need to have the hack skill, but you need to narratively be able to describe how you're helping with the relevant skill. So, for example, if you've got sway, or if you've got command, you could potentially have been talking to the guards there that allow him to sneak in and attach a comms device to one of the computers in the security booth, or something similar.
I have command. So
Okay.
yeah. So I'm probably I'm in there engaging the guards. Yeah.
Okay. So can you spend 1 stress? And Walter, you get +1 dice on your roll.
Okay, here we go. So hack, risky, standard. 1 bonus die. I got a 5.
You got a 5, so you got a partial success. So you get the link in, but when you get the link in, you notice that there's they've detected an intrusion somewhere, and so you notice that the starport actually starts putting on more patrols, and people going out in larger numbers to basically go around. So you're going to have this link for a limited amount of time until you're going to have it just for this roll. So after this study roll, you won't have access to that link again. So it's a one-off thing. That's the consequence.
Let's see, and that's specific to the Star Guild. So you're, are you saying that effectively they're kind of like they've got a sense that I'm like looking into their system, and so the Starsmiths Guild is like up to their security related to? Yes,
they basically detected an intrusion. They don't know who it is or where it is, but they basically send out their people to check the stations to make sure everything's a-okay and everything's going on properly. So they'll find the connection that you put in that links into the system.
Okay, I'd like to resist that. Can I resist that?
Yeah, by all means. So resisting in this instance is going to be done with 1 second. Given that this is a hack, it will be done with insight.
Okay.
So can you roll your insight and
Yes.
take the result away from 6 to tell me, and that's how much stress it costs you to resist it.
I got 5, so I take
Good.
1 stress,
Yes,
right?
that's right. Yes. So
Okay.
you now have a permanent link into the Starsmith's Guild. So if you want to do a study in future, you won't need to do the hacking roll.
Sweet.
Okay, so study. Who's actually using this? Who's going through the data and passing through what you've got there to try and find Lancel?
So I think OT is doing this somewhat reluctantly. She always prefers going planet side, but this time she's combing through the archives.
Okay, so in which case that's going to be a study roll. I believe, Walter, you were helping out as well?
Yes, I will help. I will assist with it. So I'll take 1 stress for that.
And you gain an additional dice in this case.
Wait, I thought you did the Walter. You did the hacking so that you didn't have to give a stress, right?
That's 2 things. So first I did the hacking as a setup move, which will give greater effect to the study roll.
Okay.
And then I'm also assisting in the study itself, and that just costs me a stress. So those are 2 separate actions on my part.
Okay. How many people can offer a stress?
Only one person can assist the roll.
Did you want to assist?
Yeah. I have a study skill, so I'll assist if you don't. Yeah.
Or what do you have? I mean, whoever has the highest study maybe would want to make the roll.
No, I just have a 1 in study, so.
Okay.
I have a 1 too, so
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So then I'll leave that to Alejandro and or to Thane
Okay.
and.
So who wants to make the roll and who is assisting? Out of Orin and Thane.
Oren, you can do it, but I have already 1 stress, so it'd be cool if I could do it, and we can share the stress. But it doesn't matter.
go ahead.
Okay. So in that case, Thane, can you roll study with +1 dice? You also have great effect on this rather than standard. So this is a controlled roll because you've got the data now. So there's no risks here.
Okay, so what am I rolling? How do I roll?
So if you click study.
Oh, it's on the character sheet itself.
Yes.
Okay. Click study.
Yep. Just click the word study.
Uh-huh.
And it should
then
bring
controlled.
a pop-up. It's controlled and it's great effect.
I clicked submit and it said standard.
So it's giving you the option of standard there. So does it give you the option of great effect there?
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I have 1 bonus die.
And you have 1 bonus die, yes.
Okay, I just heard 2 beeps, and I don't know where the result is.
The result comes in on the chat on the Roll20.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, 1 second. So that would be... that's a double 1.
Okay.
So you look through, but you're looking through this data. You're not seeing anything about the name. You're not seeing the name Lancel. You're not seeing any references from them, from any shipments coming in from the Spaces Guilds, Starsmiths Guilds offices, or you're looking through and you're not really finding anything.
I let everybody know this guy's covered his tracks really well.
But having said that, one of the things you did actually get off the one of the things you did get off the bulletin board, the bounty board, was his race. Lancel is a Xenos, and he's a Chitarian, an insect person, and you can see at least 5 Chitarians listed on the rosters. So although you don't get him exactly, you did have a greater effect. So you've got a list of 5 different people it could be.
All right. I mean, how many Chicharans are there? Can't be that hard to find them.
In fact, they're not very common over the planet itself, but they do have a small enclave in the main city, just outside the spaceport. So if they're going to be anywhere, they'll probably be there.
All right.
So now this fellow's probably going to be in hiding, right? I mean, they stole something. They must know their names on the bounty board or something like that. So we're going to have to find this fella, this person. Probably one of these Chicharans will know who he is. Anybody have an idea for how we can shake this information out of a Chicharan?
What do we know about Chitarans? Anything? Just in general?
They like hot environments. They don't tend to be very large. They're only about half the size of humans, and they tend to go around in groups. So they tend to have a very much hive social structure. So it's very unusual to see one on his own. See one on their own. Sorry, the gender neutral language. They have a carapace, a tough carapace, but once you get through that carapace, they're very, very fragile internally. They don't have the supporting bone structure that a normal human would have.
Okay. So if we just track down one, they'd probably know of the other ones. And if they all work for the same corporation, then any of them would have information. So if we just go to the spaceport and start asking questions, we'll probably find someone.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we'll get a lead that way. Yeah, I think we should just go talk to these Chicharans and see what we can figure out. I think something will turn up.
Okay. So at this point, I would like the attempt to go out and find him. I would actually like to make the engagement roll at this point. So we're going to jump straight to the action, and we're going to hard frame it somewhat. Now, you get 1 dice normally for a fortune roll or engagement roll. You're doing this without actually letting the authorities know, which itself is a bit risky, but can give you a potentially bigger reward because you can sell on that information. So I'm going to give you a +1 for that, but you don't have direct information on exactly where he is. So I'm going to take 1 away from that. So it's going to be a 1 dice fortune roll. So if someone has a look at the Cerberus sheet, there is an option on there for a fortune roll.
Yes.
So one thing I have to ask before we go into this, how are you trying to find him? Are you going around flashing badges, trying to intimidate people? Are you going around asking questions of folk? Are you trying to strong arm people into giving you what you need? Are you trying to bribe people? How are you doing this?
correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like we're trying to take a kind of soft touch approach with this.
Okay. In which case, then, could someone roll that engagement roll, please? And that will give us the starting position on the first scene.
All right, where is the button for engagement roll?
If you look on the Cerberus, bottom right-hand corner, it says roll fortune.
Aha. And how many dice are we rolling?
It's just one in this instance.
Right.
Okay, so that result is... That's a 6. Okay, you ask around. You go around asking around, and you get a lead. Quite quickly, you some of them mention seeing a Chitarian that hasn't really been associated with the group, and this isn't normal. This isn't usual, and that given that they're an outsider and not part of the hive, they give you tips and advice and give you information on where to find him. And they point out that he's been keeping to himself, that he's been staying in one of the hotels in this little enclave. And you get to the hotel, you talk to the clerk, they confirm that yes, they've got someone upstairs like that, and you go in. Now the hotel is not built for humans, so everyone is having to stoop to go in. So literally, as you go around, these creatures are about half the height. So the top of the ceiling is literally about 2 inches lower than where the top of your head would be. So everyone is going around. They have to take your hats off to go in. Can you please choose your load level before we start?
Can you spiel the advantages and disadvantages of a light, normal, and heavy load?
A light load makes you look like a civilian going about normal civilian things. A heavy load makes you look like an armed badass going out to do armed badass stuff. A medium load is a mixture between the two. You won't generate quite so much suspicion, and it won't be quite so obvious that you're actually out on business at the time.
It seems like this is a light load mission to me. It's a fairly soft target, and where we want to blend in rather than cause an uproar, I think.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay.
Are we all going to bring communicators?
Well, you only need to mark it when you use it. So until the point you need communicators, don't mark it, because you may not need it at all during this this job.
I want to bring my whip, and I want it's 2 check marks.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to do that, mark 2 check marks now, and you'll have that with you. Okay. And like I say, remember...
So I'm just sorry. So do we all choose the load equally? I mean, can...
No, you can differ. Some of you can be light load, some of you can be heavy load. Yeah, it's all on an individual basis.
Okay.
Okay, so has everyone selected the load? So you get to the door, you knock. There's a few moments later, there's a and the door opens slightly, and this large insectoid head looks out. Antennas pop around the corner. Can I help you?
Yeah. Hi. Actually, I think we can help you. We're here to make a purchase. We hear that you have information on something.
No, not interested. Not interested. And he tries to close the door.
Well, I try and put my foot in the way.
And your foot blocks the door from closing.
I say, well, so I'd like to try and get a read on him. I'd love to try and get some sense of like what he might want. So I'm kind of like, look, we're here to help you. You know, this is really in your best interest to take some time to listen to us.
Okay, I'm going to say that's a study roll in that. Oh, sorry. I don't get to say that because one of the wonders of this system is I don't get to tell you how your characters do something. What you get to do is you get to tell me how you're doing it. Are you trying to be quite smooth with him, trying to sway him, trying to judge him based on the conversation? Are you trying to intimidate him and see how he reacts? So is that a command thing? Or...
I'm definitely gonna try and sway him. I'm gonna try and be like, I'm gonna try and convince him like, hey, you need us. We can help you out. You should take some time to listen to what I have to say.
Okay, so can you roll sway, please?
Roll a sway? Yeah.
This is a risky position.
Okay.
And it is standard effect.
All right. Does anybody want to try and help me in this?
Sure, I can help. That Kit kind of like steps up next to you and is like, you want to help us? We know some people around the station, and I kind of like name drop some well-known influential people. It's just like, we have the power to make your life easier if you work with us in this.
Nice. Are you making like your like noble connection?
Yeah, just tapping like, I know people around.
Nice.
Okay, so in which case then, Eli, can you spend 1 stress?
Yes.
And Walter, can you roll with +1 dice, please?
Okay. Oh my God! I got all 3s.
No, not interested. Not interested. Please take foot out of door. Making clicking noise the entire time.
I say, all right, fine, have it your way, and I give Ainar the signal to bust the door down, and we'll just go in and grab this guy. Or I'm sorry, OT the signal.
Yeah, so OT's just basically just been waiting for this, and as soon as she senses the time is right, she just says, "Enough talk," and just grabs the door, shoves it aside, steps in and tries to take the bug person to the ground.
Okay.
With one hand.
Well, the bug person only had part of their face around the door. Unfortunately, one of their forearms was that you didn't see was actually carrying a stun plaster. So as you come through the door, there's a discharge of a shot. So I'm saying this is a risky position, but you will have greater effect because you're way beyond this person. They're not a fighter. So can you roll? I'm guessing it's a scrap because it sounds like fighting. Is that right? Or
yep.
Okay. So can you roll scrap with risky position but greater effect?
Can I do one of these bonus size things?
Yes, if you want to push yourself, you can spend 2 stress to gain +1 dice. There's not really much point in increasing the effect that you're having on it. Or alternatively, I can offer you a devil's bargain. Now, one of the nice things about this game, one of the things I love. It has a mechanism in it called the Devil's Bargain, which means I can offer you a bargain. You can gain 1 dice, but something bad will happen.
I'd like that.
So in this case, I'm going to say you can have +1 dice, but the blaster fire is going to set off the alarm in the hotel, and the hotel security will respond.
All right.
Okay, so gain +1 dice, but you will be having security inbound. Okay, so that's 5. So you get it. You do. As you come through the door, you get him. He fires his stun pistol. It's one of these ones with blue rings that go out and then concentrate on the person. And in the process, though, he does actually catch you. He catches your hand, and as a result of that, I'm going to ask you to take 1 harm. As he numbs your hand. So you can take the 1 harm, which will not have any effect on you at the moment, because once both your 1 harm boxes are filled up, your effect goes down by 1. Or if you want, you can resist that.
I'll just take it now. Do I write the source of the harm, or?
So in the box itself, if you just write in numbed hand. So you've got him. He's on the ground. You're holding his hand with the blaster. You're holding his other hand. He still has 2 hands free, and he's scrambling and trying to get you off him. And you outmatch him so much. You're so much stronger than him, and he's screaming and chittering all the time. Get off me! Get off me! Ah! Help! 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 And he starts screaming in a language which is just it's his.
Is there like we must have some equivalent of like a gag or like something to be quiet for these chitinins or something. I don't know what that contraption would be, but I hope we brought one.
You roll up sock and send something round. You'll have some means of gagging him. Yes.
Nice.
So
all right.
So you've got him.
So you said the hotel security might have gotten alerted?
Yes.
Do you have a sense of that?
As the shot goes off, klaxons sound around the hotel.
Oh no!
That alert the security there that there's been weapons fire.
Okay, I think this might be a good chance for a flashback.
Okay. So what are you flashing back to?
Well, does everyone here know how the flashbacks work in this game?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Walter, would you like to describe it, or would you like me to?
I'll let you, if you don't mind.
Okay. Basically, there's 3 levels of flashback. There's 0, 1, and 2. Depending on the effect that you want to have, you'll describe what you want to flashback and do. That will give you an action that you can take retrospectively. And I will say what the actual stress cost is for doing that. You will still need to take the roll. What flashbacks allow you to do as well is allow you to acquire equipment, which you wouldn't necessarily be able to have otherwise. So it'll allow you to take a downtime action. And if you do that, though, you will have to spend 1 cred to do that. So what's your flashback? What are you Can you describe the flashback to me? What are you doing?
Well, I want to open it up for anybody here to have an idea about this. I mean, basically, what my thought is, of course, when we were planning to go in here, right, we didn't waste time planning this ahead of actually doing it. But of course, our characters would have planned some kind of an escape route, right? Like, I don't know, maybe out the back window or something, right? Maybe we have like some kind of getaway thing available. Some like, you know, like we probably would have scoped the place out a little bit beforehand, right?
Yeah, we have like mechanical horses down at the bottom, like in westerns when you go jump out the window onto the horse. And
I love it.
Okay.
Uh,
So, is that what the flashback is? That you have an escape route already planned?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep, I'll give you that for free. You don't need to spend any stress on that. So, we have this scene of you coming up and hitching up the mechanical horses outside, looking up at the window and at the end of the corridor and looking back at the horses and estimating the distance. And then we cut back to the scene where you are at the moment. And you can hear a buzzing and a clicking noise as the hotel's robotic security is moving across the landings on the stairwell up to the location where you are.
So, as we're running out, I want to search the room to make sure we have everything we need, because we can't just run off with the guy. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't have the chip unless he swallowed it for safekeeping or something, you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
good point.
So, in which case, then, can you do a? I'm guessing that would be a study roll to actually search it, or is it a skulk thing? Is it something that you know where they'd hide something like this? So you're using your knowledge of where things would be hidden to actually look in those places, or
Can it be an attune roll? Like, can you mix things?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah.
How are you attuning to it? How are you closing down everything and opening up your senses to the world? Are you taking a moment to meditate? Do you take out some sort of crystal and concentrate on that and do it as a dowsing thing, or
I pull out my whip and I start tying him up. You know, so we're like using my whip to tie him up. And in the process of that, I'm like taking a moment to like just kind of put my hands on him. It's like my, flesh to flesh, and mind melding with him a little bit.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So in which case then, that's very much an attune roll. Can you roll a tune? I'm going to say this is desperate at this point because I'm going to say this is risky because you have security coming in. But I'm also going to say you're going to have greater effect because, he's not in a position to really fight back. He's not really concentrate. He's not really. He's a coward. And
Right.
he's given into his fear at this point, so he's not mentally. What are the words I'm looking for? Why my brain not working tonight? Yeah, he's like me.
Befuddled.
Yes, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for.
Do I get any bonus die or no?
You wouldn't normally know, but you are at greater effect. So unless someone is helping you in some way.
I'd kind of like to help him. I'd like to basically be like talking to him and just be like, so you know what we're looking for. You should hand it over to us. It'll be better. You know what happened last time you said no to me. And I'm basically like looking for a signal. Like I figure he's probably going to have a tell. Like he's probably going to like look toward, where it was hidden maybe, or, some kind of a tell, right? And maybe I can use that to help get a sense of what he's attuning to.
That sounds like a perfect assist. So can you mark 1 stress? And Alejandro, can you roll a tune with 1 bonus dice with risky position with greater effect?
I got a 1, a 6, and a 6.
Not only do you get that's a critical. So at this point, you didn't spend any gambits on this, so you can gain an additional gambit for the crew. So these gambits can be spent for a bonus dice. So in addition to that, normally it would actually that effect would normally 2 6s would normally increase your effect above what it normally is. But as you're already at greater effect, you get everything. As you meld with him, you don't just get little glimpses. These Chitarians are naturally slightly the other way. They're slightly telepathic. It's how their hives work. They have a single hive mind. So as you link in, he just provides all the information to you. You see him being approached in work, and they're being offered the money to actually get the star map You see him taking the star map. You see him come to this planet, sneak in. And you also see him go to a cantina. The Golden Sun Cantina. Where he meets someone wearing a full space environmental suit, breather mask, who hands over a large amount of credits for the star map.
And did he hand it over?
He handed it over.
What is like? How do we get a hold of this contact, or how do we find this contact?
Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I've just muted you for a few moments, Eli. There was a bit of noise coming through in the back there. Alejandro, the contact would probably be. You can tell that the contact operates out of the Golden Sun Cantina. So you have a description of the spacesuit. It has a very distinctive face mask, an environmental mask. That wears brown hood. It wears very fine robes on top of it, very much toga style. So you have a description of this contact, and you know where they operate from.
We don't have the creds. I say we take this now that we know that the star map's not here. I say we take this guy down to the horses and ride away with him back to the ship.
I didn't hear what you just said. You roboted out.
Oh, I said now that we know the map's not here, I say we get out of here and take this guy with us because he still has a bunch of creds.
I mean, creds are basically just as good as the star map, right? So if we can get what he got paid for it, that'll end the star map, then we can just double dip.
I like the way you think.
So you do find a case in the room, and as you pop it open, you see that it's full of cred chips. On the Cerberus, it has gambits as a. So you have 3 to begin with. I've just added a 4th one on there. So you find a briefcase full of cred chips. So that's gonna be 4 creds there worth. So at the end of the adventure, if you haven't used that, you can add that to the stash or distribute them out as you want.
That's only 4 creds?
4 creds, yes.
Damn, this guy didn't know what it was worth. All right.
So should I just add 4 creds to the Cerberus and then deal with it later?
We'll keep that on the table now, and then at the end of it, we'll add 4 creds in if you still have it.
Okay.
Because there's no saying that you're necessarily going to come out of here with it.
I still think we should take this fellow with us.
I mean, he could definitely be helpful.
There's a as the hovering hotel security robots have now made it up to the landing.
Yeah, we jump out. I jump out the window, and hopefully OT takes the guy with us because we're going to need him to copy the chip.
Sounds good. Case, hostage. I think we're set.
Okay.
Get on the horses and ride.
So you get on the horses and you ride away.
Yeah.
As you leave, one of these robots comes to the window and starts firing down. They can see that you've taken one of the hotel guests hostage and starts firing down into you.
Can I force explode them?
The robot?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. You've got telekinesis, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you actually doing with that?
I want to force all of his innards out of its body.
Okay. So in that case, Alejandro, you would need to push yourself. So that's 2 stress, or because of your the way ability, you could spend a gambit instead to do that and not take the stress.
I'm going to. Well, we have like a gazillion stress points, so I can spend 2. Or do you guys mind if I take a gambit?
If you've got stress to spare, I'd say keep the gambits for later.
Okay, I'll do that. So I'll spend 2 stress.
Or do gambits reset at the beginning of every session?
They do. They reset to 2, and if you've got a scoundrel
okay.
on the actual crew at the time, they go to 3.
Then we might as well spend it, right? Because we're almost at the end of the session, so go for it.
Yeah, use them or lose them.
Okay.
Okay. So you make your way out of there. So I'd like you to actually roll a risky tune roll. So pushing yourself allows you to do that, but you still need to make the roll. So this is a tune roll. That is a risky roll at excuse me. It's a risky roll at standard effect.
And no extra dice, right?
No extra dice.
4 and a 5.
Okay, so you get a partial success. As you raise your hands up, there's a shock comes down, and I'm going to actually give a complication here. The scientist gets hit by the shooting. The shots are wild. They weren't particularly well aimed. The robots aren't particularly high-end robots. They're just bog standard hotel security. So Lancel will be hit by one of these stray shots, but you will destroy the robot. Do you want to resist that?
Yeah.
Okay. So in which case you are resisting in this instance with resolve. Can you roll resolve and take the highest roll away from 6 to say how much stress that costs you?
Okay, I don't understand. So
if you click where it says resolve,
yeah,
then it'll give you your dice rolls.
Yeah.
What you do is you take your highest dice roll away from 6. So if you roll a 4, it costs you 2 stress. If you roll a 5, it costs you 1 stress to resist that complication.
So, because the more dice I'm rolling, I'm risking rolling ones, and so, is that right?
No, nothing to do with ones. The more dice you roll, you take the highest dice you roll, so the highest score on your dice. So the more dice you roll, it's better for you because you've got a higher chance of rolling higher.
Because I thought you said if I roll 2 dice, it's 2 stress, and if I roll 5 dice, it's 1 stress.
No,
I'm sorry.
Okay. So when you roll to resist something, you rolled one of the 3. You either roll insight, prowess, or resolve.
Yeah.
What you do is the cost to resist that effect is equal to your highest dice roll. Sorry, 6 minus your highest dice roll. Once you know the cost to resist it, you can then choose to either have that complication or to resist it.
Okay.
So in this instance, the scientist being shot, you roll your resolve, and that will give you a 6 minus your highest dice roll, and you can then choose whether to take that complication or resist it.
Okay. So first I roll the dice. So first I roll my 2 dice because I have 2 resolve.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
So in that case, then you rolled your highest dice was a 5, so this will cost you 1 stress to resist this. Would you like to resist this effect?
Yes.
Okay, so spend the 1 stress.
Yes.
So you've made your escape. You've destroyed the hotel security robots, and you have the scientist. What do you want to do? Where are you going?
Well, I think we should ride to the our spaceship and throw this guy in the brig.
Okay. Is that okay with everyone?
That sounds good, but we should probably not wait too long before going to the cantina, because we don't know how long the guy in robes is going to hold on to the chip. Like, we got to get it before he moves it again.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so
maybe we can split up and then meet at the cantina. So 2 go to the ship, 2 go to the cantina, and then the ones from the ship go meet at the cantina.
Yeah, like 2 can go and interrogate the scientists, get a little bit more information, and 2 can immediately start tracking down the contact.
Okay. So who's going where?
So OT really wants to go to the cantina, I think. So even though she maybe would be the one doing the interrogating, she really wants to go to the cantina.
Cord could go to the cantina.
Well, I think, I don't know. I'm not as interested in interrogating.
Should we just say that you deposit it at the ship and then everyone goes to the cantina?
I think so. Yeah. I don't think we need to interrogate him yet. We can just keep him in the brig. Let him cool his heels.
So you lock him in the brig. He's not going to escape because you have that brig upgrade. So he's locked in there. So you head to the cantina, the Golden Sun Cantina. It is a dive. This place is absolutely terrible. It's got drunks and people who are off there, who are taking illicit drugs outside, and it's a mix of humans and xenos, and the smell. Oh my goodness, the smell is absolutely terrible. You've been through some terrible places and some terrible things, but this place stinks. It absolutely stinks. And literally, as you come through the swinging doors, as you come in, you come into a face full of smoke, and it's just horrible. Your eyes take a few seconds to adjust as you come through the door, and you've got that whole thing of someone sitting there playing some form of sci-fi piano. Think of the Cosmic Key from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and you've got this whole thing. And as you walk through the door, they stop, and almost everyone in the cantina turns and looks at you. And there's that whole pregnant moment where you don't know if they're going to go for their guns or if they're going to offer you a drink. And after that moment passes, the music kicks back up and everyone just carries on. And what are people doing?
I think that, so I'm not entirely sure how gear works, but I think that Kit wants to sidle up to the bar and use the guild license, kind of like flash the license to show that we have some authority.
Okay.
Get some help from the management.
Okay, so you go up to this barman, and this barman is this big hulking brute with green skin and scales and slightly lizard-like, and he's sitting there and he's moving dirt around a glass where he should really be cleaning it. So as you come up, he takes the glass and puts it down in front of you and goes, "What would you like? What can I do for you? We have whiskey, we have Shalan, good Shalan, brewed today."
As fresh as your Shalan is, I think that we're here on official business. Pull out a badge and flash at him. Do you know anyone in a environmental suit, brown robes, was here earlier today or late last night?
Listen, I don't want no trouble. We've not done anything wrong here. We're a fine, upstanding establishment. And there's that moment where the people sitting either side of you look around as if and start scooching away from him. There might be someone by that description that I could point you in the direction of. Could
Sooner
be.
we find him, sooner we'll be out of here.
You see, they're a good customer, and I'd hate to turn on a good customer for no reason.
Well, I think we can be a even better customer.
Oh, they've got quite a tab. I mean, it must be 2 credits worth.
2 credits. Oh my. But if they're kicking up all kinds of dust like this, I don't know if they're worth 2 credits. What do you say to 1, friend?
Oh, I think I would be taking a loss on that, friend.
But a loss might be preferable to the alternative.
His eyes narrow. What's the alternative?
I think that I'll like kind of nod back at everyone with hands on their pistols, hands on their blasters.
Well, I think today is your lucky day, because I think I'm feeling generous. He pushes the cup forward. He pushes the glass forward. Okay, 1 credit.
Pleasure doing business with you. And I'll drop him a credit in the glass.
And he'll pour a drink over the top that hides it, because this stuff that he's pouring should be clear, but it's not clear. It's not good, and it stinks to high heaven. And he takes the glass, and he drinks it, and you see his jaw distend slightly as he drinks down the credits. He hires the back room. And he nods behind the bar and lifts up the folding part of the bar to let you through.
Thank you kindly. And Kit like strolls through, heels of her boots clicking, and like raps the bar twice on the way past.
So you come up to the back room.
Can I use my spidey sense to detect traps or anything?
Oh yeah, if you want to, you stop at the door. Describe to me what that looks like. How are you actually doing that? Is it a case of hand on the door, or is it a case of, again, dowsing, or is it astral projection, or what are you actually doing there? Are you sensing the magnetic fields around any sort of mechanical things or electric things, or?
Yeah, I'm putting my hand, like as he goes for the doorknob, I put my hand on the door to prevent him from opening it, and I just kind of project my awareness through my hand into like the room on the other side, and into any electronics that are like inside there or something.
Okay, you put your hand on the door. This is going to be a controlled tune roll, and
Okay.
I'm going to say you're going to have a standard effect as well.
Okay.
So can you roll a tune, please?
Yeah, I did. 6 and a 5.
Oh, a 6. Yeah, you put your hand out, and you can feel that, yes, the door. There's no traps, but the door is alarmed.
Okay. And then what about beyond the door? I mean, like I was.
Okay, so yep, there is one person behind that door. They appear to be. You get an image of them sitting at a desk. They have a blaster strapped to the bottom of the desk, just behind, just underneath, so you wouldn't be able to see it from the front. And they're sitting there, and you can see them with their they've actually got their hood down, and the encounter suit open, and you can see as you look at them, their eyes are not normal. Their eyes are fully metallic, with they're very definitely cybernetic.
Okay. I let everybody know all that information, and I take my hand off the door. And also, there's an alarm on the door too. So.
So what are people doing?
Do we want to go in guns blazing, just try to take him down? Seemed to work last time.
Well, we don't know anything about this fellow, do we? How about you two keep an eye on the door for just a second? I want to go to the barkeep and just say, so what kind of business does he do back there? Who goes in and out?
He's an archaeologist, apparently. He's digging up stuff out in the wastes.
Oh, all right. So lightning storms, he probably meets with prospectors, things like that.
Yeah, people bring stuff in for him to look at all the time. Rare artifacts, stuff that they find out there, they're tossed around by the wind, all trying to make a quick cred off it.
Nice. Sounds like just the kind of person we want to meet. Thank you, sir. And then I go to the front door, or to the door, and I just knock.
There's a few moments, and there's actually a little panel in the door that is there, and it slides open. And now the mask is back on, the encounter suit is back on. Yes, can I help?
Yeah, I've got a lead on an interesting artifact, and someone told me that this might be a place I could offload it without any questions being asked.
Do you have it with you?
No, I didn't know what to expect coming here. I'm just making sure I'm in the right place.
Bring it back and I'll have a look. And the hatch slides back. What are people doing?
You think you could take him?
Sure, yeah.
I think so. Well, he's away from the desk. Now might be a good time to get him, right? He's not at the desk.
Yeah, right as soon as the door slides closed, we could just overpower him right then.
I wonder if I could... Oh, go ahead.
I'm just waiting for y'all to nod or give me the look, and I'm standing ready with my vibroblade.
Okay, can you mark the vibroblade then? And how does this go down? OT, would you like to describe what happens?
So if everyone gives me the look, I'll just slide the vibroblade into the locking mechanism of the door, and as the door sort of slides open, I'm imagining the person inside it's just turned their back, and I'll just slide up behind him and put the vibroblade right at his throat.
Okay, so yes, you put it into the lock, you twist it, there's a and the door, being a sci-fi door, goes open, and as you step through, the guy is standing there. Big, quite a bulky guy from what you can see of him, and you come up behind, and the blade goes up, and you can see in his hand he's got his pistol. So you stood there with him. I'd like you to actually make a roll at this point to subdue him. How are you subduing him? Are you trying to intimidate him? Are you trying to physically force him round? Are you trying to calm him, and or are you literally just going to try to find a nerve point to knock him out, or basically drag the encounter suit mask off him, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so I think what she's doing is sort of channeling some of that fine martial arts, and she's gonna use the vibroblade to methodically disarm him. First, sort of just sliding the blade down his arm, and without cutting him, but just sort of lopping off the gun right at the base.
That sounds like a scrap to me. So can you roll scrap? Is anyone helping you with this?
I can be helping. I've got my whip out, so I use my whip to kind of try to bind him up as much as I can.
Excellent. So can you spend 1 stress to do that?
Yeah.
And OT, I'd like you to roll with +1. +1 dice. And what? Oh, we've lost OT. So given that we are at the hour, oh, there we go.
Yeah, I managed to click something I shouldn't have. Well, yeah, controlled or risky or
This is a risky.
Yep. Thanks. And standard, did you say?
Standard, yes.
And 1 bonus die.
And 1 bonus die.
Okay. Two, 4, 2.
2, 4, 2. Okay, so you get a 4. That's a partial success. So you manage to get him, but rather than just chopping off the end of the gun, you chop through the power pack, and there's a sickly smell as the acid battery seeps out and seeps on and basically covers this guy's hand, and he lets out a cry of pain. So you've got him, but he's injured. And there on the table, you can see the star map. The chip with the star map data.
Could I resist?
Yes, you can. You can resist him being injured if you want.
Yeah. Sure. So I could I say that I've sort of had this thing happen before, so I could sort of knock his hand out right before.
You can, but before we do that, can you please roll prowess, and I'll tell you the cost to resist it.
Sure. So how many dice?
Just click prowess. But it says prowess on your sheet.
It's a bonus dice.
No bonus dice in this instance.
Good. 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so you get a 4, so you can resist that for 2 stress.
I'll do that.
And I think I'm going to call an end of the session there. You've managed to get the scientist, you've managed to get the star map, and you've got the person who's actually selling it to as well. So we'll pick that up at the start of the next session.
Awesome.
And then we'll go into downtime. Okay?
Cool.
Okay, so so we've got at least an hour and a half of play here today. So thank you for that. We'll go straight into play at the start of the next session. And I will see you all next week. And I'm going to end the broadcast now.